Welcome back to KARE 11 News Now. As employers across the country scale back their DEI hiring practices, we're learning Minneapolis is doing something different. The City Council approved a new study on recruiting more female firefighters. Audrey Russo has some history behind the story.
The path the Trailblazers lit,
not too long after I was born,
is visible to Minneapolis's female firefighters, but
it's definitely
dimmed a bit.
Very heavy. Yeah, 3 decades ago was the first time that there was an all-female crew, and even currently there's not an all-female crew on the department.
The 33 years since this picture was taken didn't always stay true to the pioneers' course. Women made up 15% of the department in 2002, but today it's dwindled to less than 8%.
Knowing other motivated females who want to do it would have made a huge difference.
A pattern city councilors
at 16
are hoping to reverse.
Related to fire department recruitment.
This review will focus specifically on the hiring and recruitment of female candidates.
Councilmember Chavez. Aye. Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Emily Koski says the new approved study will research how other fire departments nationwide recruit and retain women.
This is about representation. This is about making sure that it's a reflection of who we are as a city and a reflection of who our residents are.
A visible sign you're wanted that can work.
Yes, I believe it does.
According to Assistant Chief Melanie Rucker.
I was going to school for nursing.
7:53 and good morning to YOU.
It was on KMOJ radio. One of the first female, African-American female captains, that was a woman recruiting and saying, this is a career, this is what the fire department is about. And I was like, I went out and filled out an application, and today now it's history.
Seeking out new trailblazers.
Yeah, you see it, you could be it.
To extend that 3-decade-long path.
Sitting here in this rig is something that many women before us had to really fight for.
There's so much life and culture that crew brought, and we need to make sure that we're continuing that.
In Minneapolis.
Audrey Russo reporting there. Hey, St. Paul just rolled out its new winter parking pilot program with the hopes of plowing streets better and faster. And after we got slammed by that recent snowstorm, we got to see if it's working. Here's Kent Erdahl.
Assessing St. Paul's snow conditions in the Payne-Phalen neighborhood on Thursday depended a lot on who and where you asked.
Not much difference. It's still the same kind of difficult. This is a really hilly neighborhood too, and so I kind of have to ride my brake everywhere still.
Cassandra Violet lives on a snow emergency route that was still partially snow-caked due to plows having to weave around cars that didn't heed the warning. But a few blocks away,
they were right on top of it. They plowed quickly.
Alice Zamora lives within the city's new winter parking pilot program.
To be honest, I kind of like it because it gives us more room to maneuver.
She admits that wasn't always the case. The program alternates parking from one side of the street to the other every other week all winter, and it wasn't exactly popular when it launched last month.
It took a while. For the first month in February, it was very difficult. People didn't pay attention whatsoever. Once the city started issuing tickets, it got people's attention and they really started trying.
Public Works Director Sean Kershaw saw that for himself today while out driving a plow. He says they've seen similar compliance across the pilot areas in Payne-Phalen and Highland neighborhoods.
Over the last couple of weeks, we started to ticket the cars and the number of tickets went down. And yesterday during the snow emergency, we towed 0 cars in Highland and 5 in the Payne-Phalen area. So that tells us that people are understanding how it works and they're moving their cars. That compliance is fantastic.
Especially if you compare it to the rest of the city, where nearly 1,000 cars were ticketed and 240 were towed by this morning. And Kershaw says snow emergencies aren't even the biggest driver of the change.
People wanted us into residential streets faster. And in the current model we have, we only go into residential streets when we have a snow emergency. The model that we're testing, this one-sided parking where people switch once a week, allows us to go in without a snow emergency whenever we get enough snow to plow.
Though he admits because the parking only changes once a week, the pilot areas will look a little more uneven a little longer.
It's next Monday that we'll go into the pilot areas when the cars have moved and do the parked lane, and we'll get that to the curb.
Still, Alice will take this over the alternative any day.
Almost as soon as it stops snowing, they're out here plowing.
Hey, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, check out the latest exhibit at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Giants. It's a collection owned by musicians Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys. Features nearly 100 works by black artists exploring themes of culture and identity. The gallery includes paintings of Gordon Parks, Lorna Simpson, so many others. It opens tomorrow and runs through July 13th. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.